All right, let's run it. All right, we are back, guys. Thank you. It's another edition, another episode here at Potted Talks. It's a special one because we've got some good people in the building, and we have Miss Tani Kiala.
What's up?
St. Patty's Day.
Yes, and also we have in the building Mr. Alvaro.
Woo!
I don't know. Can we see him on camera? Is he out of frame, Irv?
Yeah.
He's out of frame.
Actually, no, I think that's picking up.
Oh, that might be picking him up. You're in it.
There you go.
You're welcome, y'all.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Once again, thank you for taking time out of your day to come do this. I had told you before, like when we initially started this podcast and we're thinking about bringing on guests, she was one of the first people that popped in my head.
Right.
And I think why I was thinking of that, it's just like skilled and just an infectious
High
vibe.
vibration.
Yeah. Do you hear that a lot? Is that something people tell you?
Very vibrational.
No, I think that's the
No.
first time.
Really?
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, you can definitely see it through the social media aspect.
Yeah.
And just working with you, though, from the past like shows, you can kind of feel the
Yeah.
aura. So, I mean,
High vibrate. I like
high
that.
vibrational.
I'm gonna take that.
Yeah, you can see it through her photos as well.
You can.
How you feeling right now?
I'm good. I'm
Yeah.
chilling. I'm
how,
excited.
How are you?
I'm going through life, taking life day by day. Yeah.
Awesome. What does life look like right now for Tani Kiala?
Well, right now I'm having like a career change. So, unfortunately, I got laid off about 3 weeks ago from my corporate event job. So now I've been joking and saying like defaulted into a full-time photographer, and I've been doing photography on the side for about 2 years. But yeah, I say default because I guess this is what I have now, and I'm just staying consistent,
Yeah.
planning shoots, trying to get out
I
there.
was wondering because I know a lot of people have gone through that, like especially if you're, mid-30s or anything
Mm-hmm.
like that. We've all lost jobs.
Yeah.
Was it a punch in the gut? Did you brush it off your shoulders? I know
Yeah.
maybe, you kind of spoke a little bit about it. You're kind of still feeling those things.
Yeah.
But initially, that's kind of what I was wondering, one or the other.
Yeah,
you know?
I think it definitely was a punch in the gut.
Yeah.
There's a lot behind that was happening, but I think in the event space, it took me so long to solidify like a career that when I finally got there last year, I finally felt like, I don't know, I was acceptable to society or something because I finally landed like a full-time event job. So when
Yeah.
I lost it, I was like definitely knocked over, and I was like, okay, I just gained all this respect from parents and just kind of validation for myself. And then how do I rebuild that? But yeah, it's really new. So, yeah.
Going through a situation like that, how were you able to keep your spirits high?
Ooh.
Because we said you were a high vibrational person.
Yeah.
From a high vibrational person to go from something so, on the top of the mountain.
Yeah.
Right.
And then just going all the way down.
Yeah.
It takes a toll on somebody.
Yeah, 100%. I think that's something that I've been realizing too, exactly that I feel 100%, but I also feel the complete opposite too, like 0% sometimes. But right now I'm just riding the waves, whether it's like super emotional, motivated, down. Like yesterday was like, I fell asleep for like 3 hours in the middle of the day, and I was like, I just lost a day, and I feel like I'm on this time crunch to get brands and like book gigs or whatever. And I was like, shoot. And then last night I like slept, and then I was like, today we're grinding morning. So it goes up and down in waves, and I don't know. I know that what I say to myself, as long as I keep moving, even if it's inching, it's moving forward. So as long as I keep
moving
doing
the
something,
needle.
yeah, I just keep moving. Even if it's a little thing like contacting one brand or hitting up one model or taking photos that I don't want to do or something that like continuously keeps me going.
Right.
So.
And, you usually say you can take the good out the bad. So you can essentially say this might be a blessing in disguise.
Yeah. It's.
It may
Yeah.
not seem like that,
Well,
right?
maybe-
Initially.
Well, with the photography, you have more time to with your
Yeah.
with photography projects and whatnot.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, it's funny because when I was in the job, I actually was mentally hoping I was going to get laid off.
Wow.
It was kind of weird.
So can we back it up a bit?
Yeah.
Let's just give the viewers a perspective of of what that was, what was that previous job and what was
Yeah.
that looking like?
Yeah, so I was a consumer events coordinator for this shoe company, this like Hawaiian inspired shoe company, pretty well known. And I would manage or coordinate their activations like across
Gotcha.
the US. So I was like traveling a lot. Yeah, so that's what I was doing. And then I would like plan the corporate events. And then I started going into like social media a little bit.
How
Is
long?
this something you enjoyed doing? Like, did you, because I know we know each other previously.
Yeah.
You know, we do festival work. We've done festival work together.
Shout out to the Gen stores.
And yeah, shout out. And, you got to travel with that kind of work,
Mm-hmm.
right? You got to go where the show's at. So, I know you guys are aching to travel, but were you kind of falling into a groove with that? Did you kind of see yourself sticking around?
Honestly, no, but I just knew realistically that was all the experience I had. So this job just fit, and I was trying so hard to prove myself as like an adult that had a job that I would just take anything that like would have me, just because it was so tough working gigs for almost like 10 years and not getting something. So
So you kind of had this underlying feeling already, knowing, like how you
Yeah.
just said. So if there was somebody going through something similar, what's a piece of advice would you say? Like going in and then knowing ultimately what happened, right? Like, because
Yeah.
you don't know what's going to happen. You
Right.
don't know that you're going to get something bad could happen with
Yeah.
your job, right?
Yeah.
But now knowing in retrospect, is that something maybe you would just say, hey, just let it play its course because it is a safe bet? Or would you just say, just take that fucking leap, like, just do it?
I wouldn't change like what happened because I had to get that validation from myself that like, I don't know. I think just those 10 years of trying to get like a full-time job and all that, but when I finally solidified it and like realized like the people I worked with were people like me, and I just needed that validation. I don't want to say unfortunately, because obviously we're trying to like fit societal norms.
No,
and,
you're
like,
you're completely right.
Yeah.
When you hit a certain age, let's say 30, you are now considered an adult.
yeah.
And at that point, you shouldn't search for validation
Right.
for other people, but
Yeah.
you do.
Yeah.
You do.
Yeah, easier said than done,
You
right?
but you do. I mean, like including for me, right? I'm 30, adult with a job. That what you said. You know, you wanna earn that validation from other people.
Right.
You know, I'm an adult. I'm 30 years old. I have a career in hand. But at the same time, I mean, if you accept validation for yourself,
Yeah.
I think that all that matters. But some people tend to search for validations from other people before themselves, which I feel like that's pretty off.
Yeah.
I totally agree.
I think it was definitely both like validation from exterior, but also validation for myself. Like I proved to myself that I could get there.
Have you always been ambitious?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm definitely like out of my siblings, anything I put my mind to.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say competitive, but anything that I like, if I want to do this, I'll do it. And
So you
like,
follow through.
yeah,
A
I follow
go-getter.
through 100%. Yeah.
Is that from mom or dad, or is that just Tani?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't really pinpoint it to like either parent, but I think maybe it was like middle child syndrome. I don't know.
Ooh,
I don't know.
okay.
Like maybe like I
I feel like middle child
can
they
relate.
have like a chip on their shoulder.
yeah.
More
Yeah,
like,
we do.
Oh, you're a middle child.
Yeah.
Nice. We have two middle childs here. Shout
Yeah.
out J. Cole.
Shout out.
Yeah, I think it was something like that. Like my sister paved the way into like anything she did, but literally you can find like childhood videos of me, and every time my sister would show something, I would be like, but I could do it. Like,
Oh.
look at me.
I
Like
could do
I
it
can also
better.
do it. And then
Yeah.
and I feel like I looked so different from my sister. Like everything was just so opposite. She was like tall, I was a lot shorter. Like everything was opposite.
Yeah.
So then I always just like, no, I could do it too, or like watch me like move.
Yeah.
And I literally have like full proof of like doing that as a kid. So I think just growing up and like having an older sister, not that I was competitive against her, I just like felt like I had to prove that I was like something.
Build your own identity.
Yeah, yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's
Shout out
that's
to older
exactly-
sister.
Yeah, I mean,
For
it kind of helped you
Helping
mold
Tani
yourself,
path,
maybe.
yeah,
Yeah.
carve the path.
Yeah.
So so you this happens to you, and maybe not a lot of people know, or maybe people do because you disclose the information. And what I'm trying to say is, you know, we've known Tani, shoot, we know Alvaro, and we can sit here and say, do you know what they do? Probably not, right?
Yeah.
But now I feel like we know what we do when we're speaking of the, what you do, speaking of the photography. And you're putting it out there and all these cool places you've been and all these, I mean, these models
Right.
I've seen, they look gorgeous and all these great photos, by the way. So first I want to start saying it looks great.
Thank
It's
you.
awesome, like on our perspective.
Yes, I mean the creativity,
Thank
just the aesthetics, and just just all around from it. It's amazing.
Thank you. Yeah,
Yeah.
that means a lot.
So you're in this space now where you're kind of leaning more into your creative side, right? Into
Yeah.
the photography side. So, man, I've seen you travel so far. I can't say how many places in a short amount of time, but quite a few, right? Yeah, he's not in his head over
Yeah.
there. Like, yeah, quite a few.
I seen a geotag. It said Iceland.
So, I mean,
Nice.
I guess it's brought you all these places. Where's it bringing you next? Where do you see it in your
Ooh.
head?
Well, now that I have unlimited time, I definitely just want to like level up and hopefully work with bigger brands. My goal this year was to work for a like well-known streetwear brand, and then another goal of mine, like photography wise too, was to host my own like styled shoot. And then third now is to be like featured photo of the day by Vogue. So
Can you-
those are the three that I'm pretty I know I'm gonna achieve those. So.
Got you. So you got them on like a bulletin board, goals listed at
No,
home.
but I know they're gonna happen.
They're in a
Like, I
mental
already
board,
know.
yeah. In your mind. Gotcha.
Has
So-
photography always been your thing?
Ooh, yes, yes and no. So my dad was a photographer. My grandpa was a artist as well. My sister was an artist. When I was a kid, I was definitely a photographer. I always had like a disposable camera. I always was taking photos. And then in high school, I did it pretty seriously. And then like did competitions and stuff. But I got really discouraged because when I went to college, I really wanted to go to art school. And then with funds, I didn't end up going. So I completely stopped and I pretended I didn't know anything. Like I had friends that continued on and went to like art school, became editors of
What does that mean when you
newspapers.
say you pretended like you didn't know anything?
Like-
you were disinterested and
Or you
disconnected?
just try to forget about it?
Or were you like the dude from
Everything.
Goodwill Hunting where he like knows the math problem, that kind of thing where it's like
I would literally like have friends take photos and I would just like pretend I didn't know how to use a camera and like
oh wow.
I would like pretend I knew nothing.
So you were like a bit discouraged, or
I was very discouraged and I did that all the way up to COVID.
oh wow.
So this
way.
is like a new thing, and it wasn't until COVID where I was like, it's still in the back of my head. Like I've always wanted to get back into photography, but I had just had imposter syndrome. Like I couldn't afford the cameras.
Right.
I didn't know how to do this. Like all
Sure, I don't have an
Tani,
editor.
those
Yeah.
How am I gonna
pictures that
find
you
models?
post online seem those are it's impeccable.
He's trying to get in a shoot. I mean, he
could
came
tell.
through in
That's why I
snake
could tell he was
skins,
hitting the
alligator
angle.
I
boots.
told myself, Tani's in here.
Yeah. But then COVID came around. I was like, it's still in the back of my head. I'm just, fuck it. I'm going to use my unemployment money and my stimmy checks. And then
Shout out. Shout out
California.
government.
Yeah. And I was laid off from both of my jobs at the same time, too. So then I
Way.
used that money.
Yeah.
Used that money, bought a camera. And then I finally had one friend that was a photographer, and I was so scared to ask her. And now it was like, Tony, like, this is the whole reason why you stopped. Like,
Yeah.
you were afraid to, like, ask for help. So then
Okay,
I
so
finally did.
now, because you kind of telling us that, we would have no clue. You don't
exactly.
seem afraid at all.
Yeah, you have a hustler's mentality.
Right. Is this kind of like dipping your toe in the pool kind of thing where it's like, I don't want to get in, it's too cold, and now you're in, you're just like, dude, I'll do laps all day.
Right.
That's definitely me. Like, once
Yeah.
I'm in it, like, I go, like, 10,000% in anything.
So with that comfortability, has that opened up? Like who have you reached out to? Like, or who do you want to reach out to who's kind of like, maybe it's shooting for the stars, but like, let's put it out there.
Shooting for the stars.
Yeah.
It's not real. I can't really think of any like people. It's mostly brands. And
Okay.
like literally the last 3 days.
What was
I've
that
been-
brand? Because I know you brought it up before. I really want to know.
The number one brand for me would be Adidas.
Oh,
Yeah.
Why is that?
I know people that have worked with Adidas, so I know it's possible.
Oh.
And
So you
they
can
look.
see it
I
mentally,
can see
like, you
it,
can see
like,
the vision.
and they were reached out through social media, and they're like, they're amazing photographers, but that's not like their main hustle. So I felt like, yeah, I could see it. So I was like, all right, Adidas is it. Plus, I love Adidas and their style, and their fit just fits me well. So I was like, okay, I can imagine it. And then, yeah, no people in particular, mostly just brands. Yeah.
Because I've seen like a few photos. It's not the Gucci one, for instance, with the seashells.
Oh,
Well, so what's,
yes, yeah.
when you tag certain brands, what's the point? What's the point of that?
The hope is obviously they will see it and then
Oh, okay.
they'll contact that
It looks
way.
like straight from the catalog.
Yeah.
It looks great,
Yeah.
and that's one.
That's what I was thinking. I was telling him, I was like, what if they think I shoot for all these big brands? I was like, no, well, I mean, that's another thing too about photographers. Like, you gotta, I don't want to say fake it till you make it, but you gotta, like, my intention for that is to build it and be like, look, Adidas, I did this. Does this look good? And then look, Saturdays NYC, I did this for you. Can you imagine, like, your clothes on my models? Like, this is what I do for you. So that's what I do when I, like, dress everyone up in head to toe, like, brands.
And that's the styled shoots.
Yeah. Yeah, they're styled shoots. So styled shoots are typically shoots that photographers put on that people can go to like also shoot at. So it's kind of like a workshop almost.
Does that bring a lot of pressure to you as a photographer doing style shoots?
Going to them or me throwing one?
You throwing.
Oh, no.
Are there any pressures being a photographer?
Yeah, definitely a lot.
A lot.
Is it like on the post production side of things, or is it all
deadlines maybe?
I think no, it's definitely imposter syndrome. Feeling like this person's work is amazing, mine will never look like that. Or also just like trying to find your style. Like I feel like I know my style, but I haven't figured it out artistically, and I think that just comes with trial and error and like with time. And also, where's money coming from? And actually, there's a lot of things. Yeah, there's a lot of things that come with it. I think also with that 10-year like pause that I had, when I came back in photography, I had a better mentality than I did like 10 years prior. Because before I was like, I'm not good enough. I don't have the money. I don't have the education, whatever. And now I'm like, no, like, do this for you and do it your way. And I feel like that has protected me and like propelled me to like keep my magic and like, I don't know, have less imposter syndrome.
So you can say you matured.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think sometimes it takes time. I think at least from speaking of art, right? There's different forms of art. It's not the easiest thing, I think, to say, like, let's say you're in high school, to make up your mind and say, I'm going to be an artist, right? You got the whole of society telling you, don't go into this, right? And all these pressures. And then you get into your 20s. So it's known as like an experimental age, right? For a lot of people. And then a lot of people say you wise up in your 30s, right? So in that wising and maturing, you kind of give less fucks.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So maybe that is a bit of that imposter syndrome going away.
Yeah.
But I like how you brought that up, because I think far too many younger people, when I say younger people, I'm just talking about like people in their 20s.
Right.
They think they're going to be the top right away. Oh, I'm going to release this song. I'm going to release this photo. I'm going to do this. And it's just like, it's hard to say in your 20s, like you say, you only learn this by living through experience. But if I would say, if I could give some advice, and how she just said, it's like, you got to just fall in love with that process and fall in love with that journey. Yeah. Because it's not going to come easy. And there's going to be no handouts.
Yeah, people don't, they don't think about the in-betweens.
No.
They think about the outcome.
In reality and expectation are two different things. The way you see it in your head, the way it plays out,
Yeah.
I'm sure at these pretty shoots that we see on Instagram, there's shit happening in the background, right?
Yeah.
What's like the worst thing that's happened so far on a shoot? Has there been anything crazy, or?
I'm trying to think of anything crazy. Super crazy. I mean, weathering, getting kicked out. But the models that I just shot with, so the ones I like posted 2 days ago, Aiden, he told me this crazy story. It was just a week prior, but very long story short, they were shooting out in the desert, and then they almost got ran over by a car, and like his mom saw it happen, and he like dove out, and she like thought her kid got run over.
Which desert was this?
It wasn't even
Mojave?
like, it was, I don't even know what it was called. It like wasn't even like Coachella over there. It was like more northeast, but it was basically like a drunk driver and driving in the
Totally, that's
middle of
the
the
next question I was
desert.
gonna
Yeah,
ask.
driving in the
Fucking
middle of the
drunk
desert.
Dale
Oh,
just ripping
shit.
it through the yucca.
So it literally like nothing, and they just see this car coming out of the desert, and then they were like,
yeah.
"Are we seeing something?" And I know a bunch of people, or that group got injured. I think someone like broke a rib, went to the hospital because he crashed into, or she crashed into their car. But then the model that I know like jumped out of the way, and he was fine.
Oh,
So that happened like 2 weeks ago. Luckily, that hasn't happened to me, but that was just the story that popped into my head. So it's dangerous out there shooting.
Hey,
No,
watch
yeah.
out, models.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Because like I seen your latest post, you said you had to stop somewhere and because you seen cactuses, right?
Oh, yeah.
So I feel like that brings out the creative side of a
Yeah.
photographer. You know,
Yeah.
you have to be on your toes basically.
Yeah, I mean, for that shoot, well, just photography in general, if you see something off the side of the road, just stop, take a picture of it, even if it's the phone or a fancy camera, because like if you're like, that's a cool tree or cactus,
Yeah,
and
right.
this, you're gonna keep thinking about it. Like I did that in Hawaii when I was there 2 weeks ago, and I was like, that cool tree, that cool palm tree. I just want to go back.
Wheel syndrome. You're like,
And I was like,
Damn, I should have.
yeah.
so stop and capture.
Yeah, just
Hop
stop.
out of the goddamn
it
car,
takes
guys.
2 seconds. Just
Yes.
take the photo, and then you can look at it and be like, "That sucks," or like, "That's sick," and then you got it because you're always gonna
Delete,
think
yeah.
about it. Yeah.
So how often do you shoot with your like your phone?
With my phone, not often.
Not often.
Yeah, but if I see something on the side of the road when I'm like driving home or something, and I see it, I'll just take it, just because that's all I have. I don't have like my film cameras or my digital cameras with me.
Yeah.
So what are you currently using?
So I have actually an old camera, so it doesn't matter about the type of camera you have. I have a Canon Mark III.
Pull ours out right now. Show
Yeah.
her if it's adequate worthy. Okay.
So mine's a Canon Mark III.
Yeah.
I think it's from 07, so it's really old.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Canon Mark III, but it's one of those like standard cameras, and then I have a few film cameras.
So it's not what you got, it's how you use it.
yeah, exactly.
And I've heard that before
Yeah.
because my dad used to be in photography way
Thanks.
back. But that's interesting, really, to know that that's
Yeah.
what you kind of shoot with.
Yeah.
Do you hear it from your peers? Is there any kind of pressure? Like you gotta update.
Yeah,
dude,
no
or
one
you
ever
gotta
says
get the new
anything.
thing."
They're like, "That's classic" or something.
Oh,
no one's
so
ever,
retro.
No, they're like, "That's
That
a good
vintage?
one." They're like, "That was like my first camera." No, I definitely get jealous of like the new cameras because there's a lot of features I can't do that
That
will
part.
help me. But I
In
respect.
due time.
Yeah, I respect my
Come on,
Canon
Canon.
Mark.
Center some-
I know.
Goddamn,
I respect my Canon. It does exactly what I need, and I don't
Yeah.
need that fancy stuff. I do, but I don't really. Like, they
Yeah.
all do the same thing. They just make it a little bit easier than newer ones. But it's all about if you know what I call it, like light bending, if you know how to, like, work your camera, if you know how to read light, if you're into fashion or editorial, if you know how to direct models, that's, like, all you really need.
Speaking of light, do you know where the word photography, you know where it came from?
Is it German?
No, Greek.
It was it? Okay.
It means drawing with light.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Nice.
Yeah,
How'd you
yeah.
know that?
Well, you know, I switched it up.
That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, what do
light bending.
you what do you think that means?
Drawing with
Because
light?
you said light, so I feel like
She
photographer
said
and
light
light.
bending.
I called
That
light
sounds
bending.
cool.
Yeah. That's what
I
I call
mean,
it.
if it correlates with each other, I mean that's
Yeah. Drawing with light
drawing with
photography.
light, photography from the Greek.
Drawing with light. I mean, when you're taking a photo, you're like capturing light, and so essentially, you're drawing
Yeah,
with
you're
light.
drawing- okay.
You're capturing
Yeah,
light.
those Greeks were on
Yeah.
one back then.
Yeah.
Hey,
yeah.
you Greeks out there, man.
Yeah.
I love me a good euro.
So you
Yeah,
don't feel any
like-
really pressure being on a shoot, you haven't run any troubles per se yourself or anything like that. Maybe there's something to come, right? Are there any pressures of the people that you are looking to reach out to, like with, you know how you said like the whole imposter syndrome? Like how does that work out? How does someone say like, hey, do they ask for your catalog right away, or do they look at your IG?
Yeah, so they ask for, they could do IG or your website, your portfolio. That's usually what they ask for, usually portfolio. And that's where I get a little like itchy, just because.
The nerves.
Yeah. And I've said it to him today in the past 3 days because I'm really like reaching out to brands heavily lately. But yeah, that's where I start getting a little nervous because I know I have the quality of work, but whether they'll book me or pay me because I haven't worked with X, Y, and Z. Yeah. So, but I also like, I literally start saying like, cheer me on, and he'll just start chanting my name, and I'm just like, fuck it. And I just start sending it. And then I'm just like, no, I'm good enough. And I was like, I'm a badass. And then I just like have to like. That's a great
partner right there.
Yeah. He literally has to like, I'm like, cheer me. We're doing it. And then, it's a lot of work, but yeah.
I've noticed like the diversity in like the landscape in your photos, also like the models in your photos. Is that something you continue, or is that something like just a part of the eye you have? Do you want to be diverse? Do you see more things? Like how does that look in your head?
You mean with like models or?
Yeah, because it looks like you've shot in different places. Like
yeah.
I mean, I guess sometimes photography takes you everywhere.
Like the one from New York with the Russian hat, the lady with the red Russian hat. Yeah. I seen another photo. Correct me if I'm wrong. It literally looked like it was two African American dudes. I think they were just shirtless. It looked like they were in Africa.
Okay.
But, that one was really freaking dope.
Yeah, what part of Africa was that?
No, so that was actually in Utah.
That was in Corona.
That was in Utah.
Okay.
So that was actually a styled shoot that I attended. So tips for photographers, styled shoots are definitely like a way to get practice and also like.
Can you elaborate on what a styled shoot is?
So a styled shoot is when like a photographer puts on an event, like a day, a few hours, and it's kind of like, hey, I'm going to host an event in 2 weeks. I'm going to bring all the models. I'm going to style it completely. I have makeup. I have hair. I have catering. You pay this amount, and then you come and shoot.
So you're telling me that doesn't bring a lot of pressure to a photographer because you're basically doing everything, aren't you?
It's like a production.
I mean, I guess, but I think with my event background, it doesn't really bother me. And then also, like, if they're coming to me, then they like my work.
So it's like a really good way to leave a pretty good impression if things go well.
Yeah. I've done a lot of styled shoots, but I think my favorite part is just like meeting other photographers. And then another cool thing is when I'm next to a photographer and we're taking the same photo, but they see it differently and I see it differently. And I know when we go back and look at it, like it's the same photo but different. And I see her style and I see mine, which is like the coolest thing. And you learn from it too. Because then I go like, oh, I don't like my angle, but hers is tight. So I should have just moved to the side or went a little bit higher.
She might feel the same way, right? She looks at yours, I like this.
You learn you learn a lot from styled shoots.
Yeah, so you can gain a lot, not only with the networking, the learning process.
You learn
That's
a lot.
cool. I had no idea. Just looking at those things, I thought it was more just like, you reach out to maybe just one or two people, but this could be like, you've got a list of whoever's looking to collaborate.
I mean, I reach out to models on my own. I attend styled shoots. I also reach out
are a lot
to
of photographers
agencies.
doing this? No. Is this like a certain thing?
It's a thing, yeah.
Yeah.
I think, there's all types of like styled shoots. So there's like editorial fashion, and then usually where there's styled shoot is like engagement wedding. So that's like the field I appreciate, but I'm not. It's not my like, not where I'm trying to go. But that's where like majority of people are that make a lot of money, that do well, that can consistently have like jobs. It's like
Gotcha.
the wedding field.
So how's the editing process for you?
Oh my god, I hate it.
Do you have like a certain routine before you get into editing?
I need to get better at it.
Yeah, I
Okay.
was wondering like how he just brought up the editing and then you
Oh
just
my
talk about the
gosh.
styled shoots.
Yeah.
Is this something that's gonna extend past Tani? Like, are you gonna need a team to pull this off, or do you
Ooh.
see like you having like a production company? Is
Um,
that something photographers do, or do you guys just do it?
On themselves.
I'm sure everyone does things
yeah.
differently. No doubt.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure like
You
I don't
know?
know anything about
So,
photography.
Yeah.
what are your thoughts on that?
I haven't thought of myself at that level where I needed like an assistant or anything.
So it's all manageable.
Yeah, it's manageable
It's just
right
like,
now. It's manageable right
yeah.
now, but it'd be sick to one day like I've heard it before. So I've had like a director tell me like, "Hey, you should just be shooting and then you should be tossing that to an editor and you
Gotcha.
should be tossing it and like you should just come there to shoot and do your thing." And I was like, "That sounds cool." Cuz I hate editing. Editing's just not it. for
And
me.
some people are just better at things
Yeah,
than you
yeah,
are, you know.
yeah.
And I think that's a part of like learning business. I think when you go into it, you're like, oh, I can do A to Z.
Yeah.
And you're like, dude, A to Z is fucking hard. Like,
Yeah.
can someone help me out with
Or you
like
just probably don't have
fucking
enough time to
HIJ?
do that, right?
A plethora of reasons,
Yeah.
resources, times, means.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I kind of want to transition a little bit into. I mean, dude, it's 2023, man. I feel like there is every which way of anybody. You know, there's genders, there's every kind. So it's like for me asking you, like, oh, do you feel like, you know, you're a minority being like, you know, you know, Filipino photographer, right? Maybe you don't feel that way. You know, maybe like, you know, maybe we don't wake up and even when we're thinking about this, I don't feel like a minority when I'm doing this. You know, I don't think that's in our kind of thinking these days. I
Yeah.
think
Right.
we've kind of moved past that. But being a Filipino photographer, has that crossed your mind of one shooting, like doing a styled shoot, like a Filipino styled shoot, or and two going to the Philippines, you know? And have you been?
Yeah, do you?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Because we always ask, he's been once, I've never been. That's the tally we get on the show.
I've been once. I was 13.
What
and,
year was this?
Well, we're the same age. So however 13 was.
so
2007?
direct
Like
by-
12.
Yeah.
2007,
No.
2008.
I don't know.
We know.
No, younger.
Yeah.
Anyways, long time
I
ago.
love how he loves to like always don his math on this show. It's like, dude,
Yeah.
you know?
I was never a math guy.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, just once. And I was definitely like a bratty, like 12, 13-year-old. So I didn't
Gotcha.
appreciate it.
Oh, no
And
way.
I
Same
know,
here.
such a bummer.
Right.
Yeah. And then you mentioned would I do a shoot in the Philippines? Oh, I think I've never thought of that, but that sounds like a huge a huge thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
When I think of the Philippines, it's I don't know how to describe it. Like I haven't gone back. I don't feel right going back without my dad that like was born there. So I feel like that's why I haven't gone back, because I feel it's only right with him.
Yeah, where was he born? Do you know?
So he was born in Cavite.
Oh,
That's where actually we had a buddy on, Adrian, and
Yeah.
Maybe we're related.
He's from
Yeah, he's getting married out there.
Oh, nice.
Well,
But his family's
he's from Cavite.
Cavite, yeah.
Is
Yeah.
that so
30
Philippines
minutes.
is separated by 3 regions, right? If I'm not correct, do you guys know?
I
Go
believe
ahead, lay it on us, buddy.
You tell
So
us.
there's there's from what I remember. Sorry, mom, if I fucking butcher this. I think there's the top, the middle, and the bottom. The top one's Luzon.
Yeah, there's 3 parts.
Yeah, the
We
middle
figured that
one
out, yeah.
is Mindanao, and the
Nice.
bottom one is Pangan.
I'm going to say the bottom is Mindanao. I
No.
know that, the southern region.
Really?
Yeah.
You think so? Maybe.
I'm
I
not
don't
gonna
know.
go
Maybe
that
it might
also,
be.
but-
You said that with confidence. So
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
so that's the middle.
That's
Yeah,
that's funny
yeah,
you
it's
brought that
middle,
up
30
though.
minutes.
Like when I was talking about like would you shoot in the Philippines? She's like that's super far, and that's literally a thought I've had with we kind of touched upon this before we were recording. We don't know, one, we don't know too much about Filipino culture.
Yeah.
That's what
That
I
is a very common thing
Yeah.
with a lot of us second generation Filipinos, right?
Right.
Or first generation Filipinos.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You say your dad was born there. My mom was born there. His parents were born there. I think a part of that problem is because it's so goddamn far.
Yeah.
Like I'm half Mexican. If I want to go to Mexico, we could go tonight.
Yeah. Right.
We cannot go to the Philippines tonight.
Yeah.
Right? Obviously, that's a really big problem.
Yeah.
Do you guys feel that? Is there anything in like, you know, like how you explain being ambitious? Is there a side of you that says, I need to know more, like I need to learn more? Is there any kind of wonder, you know, or are you guys kind of comfortable with that? You know, because there's definitely a first generation thing that's brewed here. I mean, there's absolutely a Southern SoCal Filipino vibe, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just
Right.
total aesthetic and whatnot, you know.
Honestly, for me, when I was growing up, I kind of like shamed my culture. I was like too Americanized. You know what I'm talking about.
I can see that.
I came at this point in my life. I came to realization. I felt like I lost touch with my culture and everything about it. That's why we're here. I want to connect with my own peers with with Filipino-ness in the Philippines and anything about it.
Yeah. I think for me in college, I was definitely trying to get to know my roots a lot more. In San Francisco, I was like surrounded by way more. Yeah, way more. I mean, that's the whole reason why I moved to the Bay for school. Was just kind of like be around more. And I definitely learned a lot when I was up there. But I think there's also, when it comes to photography and in life and everything, or at least when it goes back to the Philippines, I think there is also this, I don't want to say fear, but not doing it justice.
Right.
Like, I have thought about doing like a Filipino shoot, and I wanted it to specifically, there's like this one of region in the Philippines, they do like these drawings on their face, and it's like a wedding painting. So it's like the stars and the moons, and it's like husband and wife, and when they get married, it's saying like the moon and the stars are present. So I've always wanted to do that shoot. Cool. But I'm just kind of like simmering on it because I want to do it justice.
100%.
And it's like, but if I never do it, it's never going to happen. Like if I'm always afraid, like it's not going to be perfect. And I think that
kind of back to the imposter syndrome.
Yeah. Especially when it comes to like I want to do like the Philippines and my Filipino side, right?
It's the reason I ask, because that whole imposter syndrome, it's like I had those some kind of similar moments to where it's like, maybe I wasn't thinking about this in my 20s, like, about my roots and stuff like that. But I think it gets to a point in time where, at least for me, I look and say, I've never even been to where my mom was from, you know?
Right.
And how you said you want to do it the right way. Some people have asked me before, like, you've been to the Philippines? The answer is no. Why haven't you? And I think ultimately what I've said is it's in that same line where it's like, I want to do it the right way.
Yeah.
Like, I want to do it justice, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that just alone speaks volumes.
Yeah.
That like, because you guys know, being Filipinos, most Filipino families are tight. You know, just that that connectivity they have. I feel like it's, I want to say it's different. I want to say it's different from my other side of the culture I have, you know? So, like I said, even you just saying that makes me think that we hold the weight of something that we don't even know what that is.
Exactly.
You know?
don't know.
Which is such a bizarre thing, really. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, I really looked up the other day. Did you guys know that Filipinos are the second largest immigration group in the United States?
Yeah, I did know that.
You're right. Yeah, I've heard that.
You know?
Yeah.
And it just boggles my mind how, like, if you were to look at those numbers and how many people even know where they come from, it's like, how far would those margins go down? Right. You know?
Yeah.
Did you grow up around Filipinos? Did you did your mom and dad speak Tagalog at all?
No, not at all.
No.
So I grew up in San Diego, and then all my family was from down south, like Chula Vista, and then my dad moved us up north, so northern San Diego. So I grew up in like a super white area. I was like one of 8 Filipinos, and then like there was like, I think like 5 black people, and then like 10 Mexicans, and that was us. Then maybe like 15 Chinese people. So that was us.
It's like a snack size M&M packet right there. Dude.
Yeah.
Not much going on.
Yeah.
But just enough.
Yeah, but I think it was definitely tough because I like always struggled with trying to like fit in with my peers, but then I knew I was different, and then that's why I like moved to San Francisco because I was like, these are my people, like.
right.
And then when I got there,
gosh, you must have just immersed in it.
I mean, I was so excited in that way, and then when I got there, immediately they were like, "You're not one of us." Like they literally, I had someone saying like, they're like, "Speak."
Whoa. One of us as in...
Like Bay and also Filipino.
Wow.
Yeah.
what
They
reason
hit you with a double strike.
Yeah.
For real.
Damn.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah. It's
moving
tough
back.
up there.
Pronto.
Dude,
Yeah.
let's dive into that real quick. We kind of touched up Bay Area, NorCal Filipinos
Oh my gosh.
versus SoCal. Not even versus. I'm not trying to do no versus.
No.
There's a
Family.
difference, right?
I could say the Bay Area
God.
Filipinos are
goes.
more lit in parties.
Ooh, there we go.
100%. 100%.
More lit.
Yeah. So fun.
I mean, in
Dude,
the-
actually, the guy we got coming in, the homie
He's from the
Mo
Bay
Jeff,
Area?
he's from the
There you
Bay Area.
go.
So we're
Oh
gonna,
yeah, nah, they get
we're gonna have to get him to
Yeah.
validate
Yeah.
that.
they like straight down.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
is
mean,
that- is that
that's
your-
like one of my favorite parts about like living in the Bay for sure.
Okay.
The community out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, community, right?
Yeah, huge.
So tell us about that. Just like, because you say you miss it. So there ain't nothing like that going on around here?
No, definitely
Okay.
not. No,
And
like
what is that
like,
you're missing?
Anywhere in the Bay, like
Yeah.
they rep the Bay hard. Whether you're from like East Bay, sometimes SJ if you want to count that, even SAC, like
So proud.
they're just like fine. You're part of us. Like even
Yeah.
in college, they called it like Triforce, like East Bay, like San Francisco, and I think SJ.
Triforce.
Well, that was in
Triforce.
college.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a new
So
one.
like
No.
if you were in like the Bay Area, then you'd be in that Triforce. But like
Okay,
any sports, I mean, look at all the sports teams. Like they rep it hard,
Yeah,
no matter
Giants,
what.
Warriors,
Yep.
even the Kings, Sacramento
Yep.
Kings.
Yep.
100%.
Yeah. Yeah.
They go
all of
hard.
it.
And I've heard if you go to the Bay with your LA Dodger hat,
Oh my god, it's bad.
yeah, you're gonna learn how.
Yeah,
You
you've seen
need
it
to
in
learn how
real
to
time.
time.
Yeah,
People
it's
get
bad.
ragged on.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I feel like there's always a Bay Area LA thing. As far
Yeah.
as-
What about the food up there? Tell us a little bit about
what's
the
your
food?
What's your
because
favorite?
every time
Filipino
I've gone,
Ooh.
my mom lives up there now, dude. Every time we go back, I'm like, I don't know. I think they got some more options.
Oh, okay. I thought you were gonna say something bad.
No,
No,
nothing
it's
bad at
good.
all.
Yeah.
I come back here and I'm like, where the hell can I
Yeah.
get dim sum? Like,
yeah,
you
yeah,
know?
yeah. I mean, the spot is Senior C6, which like everybody knows in like the Bay.
Say that one more time?
Filipino Senior C6.
That's a cool
Hey,
name.
It's like the most-
Senior
sissy right
C6.
here. This
It's
boy
like
right here.
probably the most popular food truck in all of the Bay Area, which is like Sisig burritos.
And where's
and now
this
they have a
at?
store.
Like,
well,
where-
they have a bunch of food trucks
Oh,
all
okay.
over, but now they have a store in. They have it somewhere in the city.
okay.
Yeah, yeah. I
Senior
left before
Sisig.
they built it, but yeah, it's the spot. It's so good. You have to have it if you go up there.
My C6.
Noted.
Anyone from the Bay knows Senior C6.
Do you know how to cook C6?
I made it for
Really? Is that hard?
Thanksgiving. No.
It's not hard? Okay.
No, it's super easy. The secret is just like making it like really fine and small, then like pan frying like
What?
meat.
Who taught you that?
Oh, I just learned online.
just learned online?
I was like,
YouTube
I'm gonna
University.
See, that's what we got. We're
yeah.
like these first gen. We're like YouTube. you
Yeah,
know?
I literally just was like, I want like a mixture of like Mexican and Filipino,
Yeah,
so I
some
just
fusion,
made. Yep. So
yeah.
for Thanksgiving, I made like
Yeah.
sisig tacos,
Sick.
and then they were a
Oh,
hit.
nice.
So I like keep bringing them back.
Do you have
Alvaro,
a,
were you in on that? Yeah, he
you
was.
have a favorite Filipino dish?
Adobo.
Oh, okay, yeah, you can't go wrong.
Ooh, we
yeah.
were just talking about the adobo.
Yeah.
How come there's no adobo fried chicken? Is that impossible to get the flavor onto the?
Actually, I think it's possible because it's like adobo seasoning.
That's what I'm thinking.
But I don't know. It's like I can't imagine adobo. I've seen attempts, but I don't know.
Well, you said
Yeah.
adobo.
Fried chicken.
Remember we were
There's
talking
like
about
adobo
chicken.
We're
today.
talking
We
about
tend to
that.
talk about chicken a lot, especially when EJ's around.
Yeah.
Not in a bad way. If you
Yeah.
guys are interested in seeing a challenge go down in the near
Yeah,
future,
so guys, they don't believe me that I can take down 70 wings in under 30 minutes. June.
I say we
I'll
make
do
shit
June. We'll
interesting and
soon,
do it
yeah.
at fucking Coachella.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay, we can do that.
Yeah, you got everyone.
So
You know
I'll be
what
there
I
second
mean?
weekend.
Yeah,
I'll be there
Because
second.
last time I checked, and I check, you guys are all gonna be there.
Okay, yeah,
And
we
so am I.
we could definitely do that.
You see, he's like, oh, we can definitely
It
do that.
has
How
to
many
be
wings is
it.
it?
But it has to be my mom's wings.
Oh. No.
Your mom's gonna make you try the wings, dog.
Hey, first of all,
okay, we stop.
this you brought up your mom's cooking a few times.
Yeah,
she's got it like that, huh?
Yeah, she's in the family. My other family members reach out to her.
Yeah,
for, like,
you grabbing
catering.
that cup like you want a shot. Is it okay?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah, she's a really good cook. Palabok.
What's your favorite Filipino?
My favorite Filipino food.
Here we go. Here goes the list.
All right, so
Here, give me your cup. Go ahead and think. He's a big thinker.
okay, so I like sinigang. Obviously, nilaga.
Cheers.
I
buddy.
like that. I like that more than sinigang actually.
Really?
Yeah, I'm a bit. I really.
'Cause you don't like sour. You don't like the.
I mean, I
sourness
like it.
of the scenic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I rather prefer like just the straight.
Dude,
just
I'm
the-
gonna go fucking just basic bitch straight up here.
But
Lumpia.
Yeah.
Dude,
I mean, it's
because it's
amazing.
so undefeated.
Yeah.
no,
like,
guys,
come
Can't
on.
go wrong.
Like, get a grip on reality.
what's really is undefeated is a Filipino breakfast.
Ooh.
That's what I can eat every day. You know. Just,
Have you guys been to Lola's in
no.
Ancatella? It's a Filipino breakfast spot.
No.
Yeah, it's
Please enlighten
Ancatella.
us. Tell them.
Yeah, yeah. Like
Lola's?
literally, yeah, Lola's.
Is it new?
Yes. Like maybe 8 months ago.
Is it a
Catella and
breakfast
what?
joint?
It's a Filipino breakfast
Really?
joint. Yeah. So it's
Damn
like
it, Lola.
It's cute. Yeah. They have like ube.
Do they have
pancakes.
longanisa?
They have longanisa.
Longsilog,
The
tapsilog,
tocino. They have sisig.
bangsilog.
Damn it,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah.
You see,
Ancatella
we're,
and
hey, we're
what?
quick, but apparently we're not quick enough. And this is why
Ancatella.
we're doing
What
the things
city
we're
is it?
doing because first
Anaheim.
gen.
Okay.
Yeah. Right next to Angel Stadium, right below it.
Okay, Lola's. Okay.
Lola's.
I
yeah,
know they
yeah.
just opened up a buffet, a Filipino buffet.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's on in
Yeah.
Artesia.
You start talking about food, we'll get a whole nother fucking episode with this guy. So, once again, guys, thank you for coming. We appreciate the time. A question I want to ask that we've been asking guests, that I want to ask these guests. What do you love about being Filipino? Because it's different. It is
Yeah.
different, and you
Yeah.
know that.
Yeah.
And you know that.
I think we touched up on, like upon it a little bit earlier, just like the family and the community. I think community more, because no matter where I've been, the Bay, even moving here, it took some time, but I was able to like find my like community, and it ended up always being like Filipinos, to be honest.
Right.
And even when I moved here, I found it tough finding friends, and I finally said out loud, I was like, I think I just need to find like Filipinos,
Right.
because they get me, they understand like food, dancing, being loud and crazy, partying, whatever it is. Like, and it's also just like a safe space for me. So I think just the community is like my favorite thing about
favorite
being
thing.
Filipino.
I feel like you
It's
go
beautiful.
off on karaoke.
No, I've
yeah.
actually
Yeah. What's your go-to karaoke
no,
song?
I've only done karaoke like once.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know.
We also go in
It
a
like
karaoke
wasn't
bar.
a thing.
All
yeah.
of us.
We
it
should.
wasn't a thing like in San Diego, like our family.
In
I
the
don't know.
Bay? Okay, so in the Bay, they weren't karaoke.
Yeah,
He
no
just wanted
karaoke.
They're like, you
Yeah.
want to
No,
sing
you know-
songs?
Gigging.
We're trying to fucking get it to songs. Like, you want to
I
sing
think that's
that
more
shit?
like here, like karaoke.
Can you do that one more time for us?
Yay, yay.
Yeah.
There you go.
What's the rating out
Yeah.
of 10? Go ahead.
Shoes off.
Yeah, out of 10.
10 out of 10.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
10 out
Appreciate
of
it.
10.
Well, I've a lot of people mistaken me from being from the Bay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
people
definitely.
ask me.
I think when I met you, I thought you were from the
I
Bay.
think you asked me, and then like,
Yeah.
other people asked me.
It's the nose ring.
It's
It's the gold nose ring.
There you go.
Yeah,
Really?
yeah.
Okay, so
What?
the
Good
nose
job.
ring is the people from the Bay. What's the
Yeah.
one thing that the SoCal Filipinos got?
Oh man, it's
Come on,
in
one
my
thing.
opinion.
What
One?
thing that you're like, oh, you're a SoCal Filipino.
In my opinion,
Let it rip.
they're just so pretty. Like, but I'm not. Okay, so I'm sorry. They try. It's oh man, I sound like a
One
hater.
thing.
It's just they have the pretty boy aspect. They want to show it out,
Yeah.
and as opposed to the Bay, you see the little gritty, but they're still fresh.
Yeah. Well, you know,
But I'm
like
still
I used,
LA, dude.
I used to say, like, when I was up there, like, it's just so cold. So everyone's wearing, like, puffers,
Layers. Everyone
beanies.
is
So
layered,
then it
dude.
just look, and they're wearing boots all the time because of the weather.
They
so
always-
you just look like
They always
hard all
say
the time.
the NorCal is the West Coast, East Coast, West Coast of
Of
the
New
East-
York?
Of
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it is. I think so. Or at least, like, I mean, it's the biggest, like, city, but
Yeah.
like LA.
Yeah,
is
in
like down
proximity,
to-
right? That's where
Yeah.
it gets cold.
Yeah. It's
I
just
was gonna
so-
say the whole high socks. You know, I feel like that's a very SoCal, like the Vans and the high socks with the shorts.
But
And
then
like
that's like Oakland.
is it?
See, they're versatile.
See, she knows more than I do.
Yeah.
If you guys know something what
Come
SoCal
on,
Filipinos
Vans.
don't know.
Young,
song?
Yeah, Vans.
Freaking
by the
Vallejo.
pack.
Yeah, Vallejo.
Yeah.
But they do it with the high socks though.
I think so.
Who
Do
does?
they? I don't know the Bay Filipino.
Well, I
Yeah,
feel
I
like
think
that's
so.
SoCal.
They rock anything.
High socks
Yeah.
is SoCal. No, that's from the like this Chicano culture. I feel like.
Yeah. Possibly.
But,
All right, well, way to fuck my whole fucking thing up.
I'm just saying, dude.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. Honestly, this has been pretty fun, and I feel like you know, with the background we have with Tani, we could seriously have a whole another episode about
TBH.
you know what I mean, with the festival work that we got coming
TBH.
up and many things. She's very talented. Honestly, when we first, like I said, had the list of thinking about her, I was like, how are we going to introduce her?
Yeah.
Because she's like multi-talented.
Because
She's
also
like a dancer.
you
she's
are a dancer
photographer.
too, right?
Yeah. And we just dropped this
That's
on
crazy
the
you
end of
guys
the
forgot-
episode.
remember that.
But
Yeah.
no, how can I forget?
Well,
the last
I
time
know.
at
'Cause we were-
Coachella.
well,
no.
yeah.
The last time at Coachella, guys, which we work with Tani at Coachella, and you guys can see Elvira on this camera right here. I don't know if he's going to be edited in or not. He's here. He's here in spirit. We work with these guys
Shout
at
out
Coachella. That's what
Elvira.
we do. We're festival. We're festival crew. And weekend 2, I want to say.
I don't know where you're going.
No, she was working. Okay, we were working weekend 1 all together. And then weekend 2, I had asked Tani, I'm like, hey, you going to be here weekend 2? And she's like, I'm going to be on stage with 88 Rising.
This guy's like, what do you mean?
No,
What
that's
do you mean?
my sister.
You said that you were going to.
No, that's my sister.
Was that last year?
That was
Yeah.
last
I remember
year.
that,
That
yeah.
was my sister. My sister's a professional dancer.
Man,
Dude,
but
you
I was
did
also a
not
dancer too.
say. Okay, so
My
you.
sister, yeah.
You wanted to go see her.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah,
Dream shot.
I
Dream
actually,
shot.
I kind of do remember her saying that. My sister was.
You're like, whoops.
Yeah. I kinda do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I was like, how do you remember? Well, retared dancer, but my sister's still a professional dancer, so she was
Awesome.
on stage with
It's in the DNA.
It
Yeah.
is- But you say your dad's an artist. If there's one thing I remember, I seen a story. Your dad brought out a drawing
so
book
scared.
of like the
Oh.
games.
Yeah.
That's pretty fucking dope.
I love that art.
So what
Yeah.
what was his what was that about?
So my dad was an artist too, drawing, photography, painter. But that like gang art stuff was actually funny for the school. So he like drew it like anti-gang.
What year
Cool.
did your parents touch down in the States?
So my dad moved here when he was 8. My mom was
Oh.
actually born and raised here.
Oh.
Yeah. But cool thing about
Sick.
like my grandparents, they like they taught English in the Philippines, and my mom's mom like ran away from like marriage in the Philippines and like went to Berkeley. Yeah, she got her degree in Manila for English, and then she like ran away, went to Berkeley. Yeah, she was in
interesting.
school, but what's really cool is like, so back to like my dad's drawings.
Cut.
He did like a pilgrimage to Manzanar with like the Black Panthers and like Chicano
Wow, he
movement
was-
to
Yeah.
protest.
I honestly,
he
dude,
was pretty cool.
I
That's
could be
fucking
thinking like, you know, you say that you act on things you see, right?
Yeah.
And so do I, right? Like this whole thing is like because I saw it in my head, and I really feel like what you just said. There's a time before our time where like our people connected with like, you know what I mean, the other cultures that were here and they went through something, and I don't think that is talked about enough. I don't think it's
Yeah.
represented enough. I don't think that bond, because seriously, when I think about it, I've got like, you know, good friends of many cultures, and I bet you anything, you take that a generation back,
Yeah.
they were probably, you know what I mean? We're just repeating
Yeah.
what they did.
Yeah,
you
right,
know?
right.
And
We're just doing what we can do.
yeah, now we're doing what we can do, and I feel like what we can do,
Is
our opportunities are a little more now.
Yeah, exactly. Is that
Our
and then a
ability
bag
to
of chips.
connect is different from that day.
For sure.
Um,
Where can we find your work at?
yeah, please
Sure.
plug it in.
Yeah. So to see my work, you can go Instagram. So it's at Tawny.Keala. So TAWNEE.KEALA. And then my website is TawnyKeala.photography.com. So yeah.
And one more thing. If you had the attention of the world for 5 minutes,
Yeah.
what would you say?
That's like the hardest question. Wait, for 5 minutes?
Well, yeah, if you had the attention of the
For
world
15 seconds,
Well, it doesn't have to be 5 minutes.
Oh my God.
And like 15
What would I
seconds.
say?
What would you say?
I guess, well, all right. Thinking like quick and top of my head and like situational to me. Keep going, keep moving, keep even inching forward every day, and you'll get where you want to be.
Cool.
Yes.
There you go.
Yeah.
Keep that in mind, fellas and fellas.
Absolutely.
You
Tawny, there's no doubt in my mind that, one, we are going to see each other again.
Yeah.
Two, I feel like down the line,
have you again.
I feel like there's
For
more
sure.
brewing, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we were going to have you.
We'll bring my
it's-
sister. You
it's-
confused
Yes,
me.
no, for sure.
Guys,
And then we're also
you
thinking
know what?
about...
I'll take one out of,
And
she's
then we're
right.
also thinking
She's
about,
right.
like,
that was
you know,
my
having-
fault.
I wish I was that cool.
Both of you guys, too, it's just as far as, you know, it's just... I brain farted real quick. I'm so sorry.
I think he's trying to say the more the merrier.
Well, yeah, but
Yeah.
Yeah. So once again, guys, thank you for coming on this episode of Part Talks. Guys, she sent you her handles. Please go check it out. We're gonna bring you more talented people. I don't know if they're gonna equate to Tawny. Nah, but
Check out
seriously,
her work, though. It's freaking
yeah, they're gonna.
Thank you.
a
If
masterpiece.
you're a brand, hire me.
Yeah. Hey, Adidas.
I'm unemployed. Come to me.
Hey, she'll do a shoot. I'll shoot the buckets. All right.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
Thank you,
we're
Tawny.
out.
We appreciate
Please, you
you.
guys are welcome
Thank
anytime. You already
you.
know this. Thank you, Alvaro. Thank you, Tawny.
Thank you.
Hey, shout out Alvaro.
Thank you.
Till next time. Peace.